holy. None of me but a whole lot of him. Oh, she holy, holy. None of me but a whole lot of him. Oh, she holy, holy. None of me but a whole lot of him. Oh, she holy. What's up, y'all?
Hey, y'all.
Hey, y'all. This is Holy Chicks Dropping Nuggets podcast. It's your girl T.
It's your girl Tony.
Oh yeah, we come to give y'all real life stories from a holy perspective, because y'all know it can get hard
in these streets. Come on here, sis. You preaching.
It can be real hard out here.
Hard out here for a Christian woman.
Thought you was gonna say it's
I
hard
almost
out here
did.
for
I almost did.
hard out here for a Christian
woman. Yeah, y'all. We got a good one for y'all today.
We really do. We really do.
You know what? I'm excited about every episode that we do, but today in particular, it's been something I've been wanting to talk about for like a really long time. And I think prior to us having this podcast today, we spoke a little early on the phone, and he was like, do you still want to talk about it? And I was like, I don't know, sis, because I think I'm still, you're right, I think I'm still in it. It's like, so let me get out of it first, and then I'll give some nuggets on how to get through, but I don't know. So, but she was like, you know what, that's the best time to talk about it, when you're in the midst of it, you know, because you can come from a perspective of personally being able to, you know, identify it, and personally being able to, you know, target and say, you know what, I've been there, I've done it. As a matter of fact, I'm in it.
Yeah, and you know how sometimes when you're in it, you can talk about it and talk yourself through it, and you'd be like, dang, I never looked at it like that. You know, it's just talking about it, venting about it. And then, I mean, we discovered that about me a couple episodes ago. You know, when we discovered some things about me, and I had to end it with this situation is pending. We came back the next week, and this was good. So,
yeah, we
you know, you get through it. Life is hard out here for a Christian woman. Okay? We just out here living life just like y'all. We just coming from a holy perspective, trying to live it from day to day.
That is it. So
that's all.
I love it. So going right into it. So today, drum roll. Thank you.
I don't even know if that's a real drum roll, but
the topic for today is titled "Stranger in My House." Ooh, y'all.
Yes.
Think about that. Stranger in my house. And I have been really feeling like this lately, like there has been a stranger in my house. And the whole ideal of it, when I say stranger in my house, I feel like I haven't been myself lately. It's like I can't identify who this person is. You know, like I don't talk the same, I don't walk the same, I don't react to things the same. It's kind of like my energy has been drawn away from me, or I feel, you know, I feel consumed or overwhelmed. I think overwhelmed is more so the word I'm looking for, because I don't think it's like depression or anything. I just feel like I've been so overwhelmed. And being overwhelmed, I've been very frustrated. I've been very irritable. It's been hard for me to have like simple conversations without having an attitude. Or if I don't have an attitude, I might just want to shut down. I don't want to talk about it. You know, so lately I've really been feeling like, who is this? Who are you? I don't understand or recognize who you are. So when I say, or when we say stranger in my house, I'm really talking about my vessel, my body, myself. I am the house. You know, and there's a stranger in my house, and the stranger is something that I don't recognize. You know, sometimes you hear people say all the time, I don't know who you are anymore. Like you've changed. Who are you? And I've had that same conversation with myself, like, Antoinette, Tony, who are you? Who is this person? And that's really how I've been feeling, like stranger in my house. Like,
so what do you think has made you feel this way? Like where do you think that you originally started to, do you think you lost yourself to something, or do you think that something's just been draining you so much that you have started to not recognize yourself?
Right. You know, as I sit back and I think about, like, how do we get to this point? You know, I am a very outgoing, very lively, bubbly person. You know, I can always see the good in any and everything. I've always been that way. And here lately, it's just like, you know, I always have a word of affirmation or something good to give someone. If someone comes to me with a problem, I always have something to uplift and to encourage them with. And here lately, you know, I've encountered people that have different issues, different problems going on in their life, whether it's marriage, family, sickness, illness, finances, job trouble, whatever. I usually have something to give to them. And here lately, you know, people have come to me with different situations, different issues, and I've been mute. I've literally had nothing to say. Even when I would subconsciously or internally like pray in the back of my head, you know, in my thoughts, and said, Lord, give me something to give to them, to walk away with, to uplift and to encourage them. And I had nothing, absolutely nothing. So I sat and I thought to myself, I'm like, what's going on with you?
Yeah.
Like, what's happening? Why have you changed?
Yeah.
Who is this person? Because this is not who you are. And what I realized is that I've just really been overwhelmed with just my life in general. You know, I'm transitioning. I'm picking up more assignments. I'm doing more at work. I have more responsibility at home. And I feel like I'm so consumed with my day-to-day activities and all the responsibilities that I have, that I have been so overwhelmed and I'm so full and filled that I literally have no time for myself. You know, so my gates were open.
Yeah.
And when I say my gates became open, my gates are what? My eyes, my ears, and my mouth. All those are gates to what? My soul.
Right.
You know, so it's like, you know, I've been feeding my eyes with things, entertainment things. I binge watch on Netflix series, and you know, I'm listening to, you know, Beyonce's new album because I like the beat, and I've been on TikTok so long and so much that every time I turn around, somebody's doing like a TikTok to Beyonce's song. So then before I know it, I just go to YouTube, or I go to Spotify, or I go to, you know, any type of, you know, and just put her song on, because now I'm interested. I've only heard a few lyrics because everyone dancing to it on TikTok, and before I know, it's in my spirit. You know, now I want to F up night. You know, and it's like, oh wait. So it's like I'm feeding my spirit those things. You know, what am I saying? You know, like I get frustrated and I might let a curse word slip out of my mouth, and then I get comfortable with it. And before you know it, I'm using more and more and more. So my vocabulary is changing. My gates are open, you know, and when my gates are open, then I become full with things.
The wrong thing. Well, we're not going to say necessarily
things
the wrong
of this
things,
world,
but things of the world. Yeah,
you
not
know,
spiritual things.
Right, things of this world, and the Bible, because what, we're holy chicks, right? And we say we can never, you know, delete God from anything, you know. So in the Colossians, I think it's verse 3 and 2, it says, you know, set your heart and your mind on the things above and not the things beneath. And it's like my heart and mind have been set firmly on the things beneath. I've been so concerned with my job and so concerned with my family and so concerned with my kids that I don't pray as often as I used to. I don't read my Bible as much as I used to. I don't watch encouraging, inspirational YouTubes. Like I mean, literally, I didn't even watch TV. Like YouTube was my life. Like Sarah Jakes, you know, from Sarah Jakes to Cindy Trim to, you know, Matthew Stevenson, Prophet Shepherd Bashiri, Uber Angel. I mean, you name it. Like that's all I did. I watched, you know, sermons. If I didn't watch sermons, I was watching teachings. If I wasn't watching teachings, you know, I was reading. And if I wasn't reading the Bible, I was reading an inspirational book. If I wasn't reading an inspirational book, I was listening to something inspirational. Like I consistently start to feed myself. And here lately, I got to be honest, you know, because this is the raw, uncut truth, you know. And yes, I am saved, and yes, I do love God, but you know, we do fall short. Right. You know, we do kind of get out of the things of God and into the things of the world, and it's so easily to get distracted.
It's so easy, yeah.
So
especially
easily.
when you have a lot going on, and when you said like you're a leader in every aspect of your life, and you have a lot going on. But you did say something when you said that you've been just a little overwhelmed with assignments. And I remember on our live when we distinguished the difference between engagement and assignment. And if they're overwhelming you, and if they are cluttering your mind, and if they're taking from you instead of giving to you, are they really assignments? Like, it's just about maybe prioritizing your life and trying to declutter your mind and declutter those things and to cleanse you from what is taking you off course, or what you might feel like is taking you off course.
Right. And it's true. It's very true. You know, as you were speaking, one thing I thought about, it's like when you first get into a relationship, right? And you first do the greet me, and in the relationship, everything is beautiful in the beginning, you know, but there's a saying, the same way you got her is the same way you keep her.
Right.
Right. You know, we hear it all the time. So with me personally, when I first had a zeal for God, when I wanted all of God, you know, I would read my Bible and I would pray and I would watch YouTube and anything I could that would edify my spirit, I was doing. And then I got away from that. And then when I got away from that, I start to see a shift and a change in my mood and my attitude, even in my response, how I've responded to situations and to people. Like I said, I've always been the type of person, I've always kind of saw the good in everything. And now little small things, I get irritated and I get frustrated. And I'm like, whoa, like you just snapped because there was a spoon in the sink.
Right.
In the sink, right? What's going on with you? Like, it's just a spoon. Like, put it in the dishwasher. Chill.
You still get mad about those towels?
You know what? You know,
if the spoon is getting you, honey, those towels are setting you on.
You know
fire.
what? If I can just be honest about the towels, you know what? If I can just be, I've been so overwhelmed that the towels don't even make it to the closet. They go from the dryer to the basket to the corner, and that's where we use them from. I'm just being honest. So we have not even got to the towel part. So they're not even being folded anymore. We're living out the basket right now because Mama is tired. Okay, Mama is tired. I do not feel like it. Like literally, like y'all lucky y'all not going to the dryer pulling them out. You lucky I have enough strength.
Taking them out the dryer.
Exactly, and putting them in a basket. You know, so please. Yeah. So
you think you're just tired, kind of, maybe.
I think I'm tired. But see, so this is the thing. Even like last night, right? I went to bed at like 9:30. I think we messaged last night, and I went to bed like 9:30, close to 10. And because I was like, I'm tired, I really need to get rest. But then I was up at 2. And then I was up at 2 and I couldn't go back to sleep. So I decided to watch a movie on Netflix. And then I finally fell back asleep at 4. But then I had to be up again at 7. So it's like, am I tired? Am I getting rest? Am I getting sleep? Or am I not rested? I believe I need rest. I believe I sleep, but I'm not rested. And I believe I'm not rested because I don't have peace. And I feel like
I was going to get to that.
When you have peace, rest comes easy.
Yeah.
But I feel like there's no peace, because I'm too worried. Even times where I said
cluttered.
I'm scared.
Yeah.
Like real moments when I was like, oh my God, like I'm really scared. When I say I'm scared, it's because maybe I have like an assignment to do. And I'm so afraid, because I don't know if I have the strength to do it. I don't know if I have the strength to put it together to be able to execute it in the way that they expect me to. So I'm afraid. And then I clam up. And then like I procrastinate and know I have to get this done so I can get it to this person so we can make sure that this assignment is done on time. But because I'm scared, I clam up and I don't. And I'm like, you know what? I'll take care of it later. And then later is like 3 days later. And then 3 days later, not only do I have what I need to do 3 days ago, but I also have like five or six other things piled on top of that. So now I'm even more stressed out. I'm even more frustrated. And I have no peace. Even when I want to go to sleep, I can't because my mind is constantly thinking about what I have to get done, what needs to be done. And then when I have the time to do it, I don't do it because I'm like, I don't want to be bothered with it. So it's like, well, what like, come on, what are you doing? What's going on with you, Antoinette? Like, what's up, Tony?
Let's talk. Stranger? Who is this like, person
what
you're looking in the mirror at? Yeah.
And I'm trying to figure out, like, what's happening? Yeah. And how do we reverse or fix this, because this is a real problem.
So one thing, because we're gonna come from a holy perspective on this aspect. So as I'm thinking about what you're saying, and as you're telling me that, oh, there's a stranger in my house, I don't know this person, I don't recognize this person because it's not who I was, or who I know that I can be, or who I know that I am. But I personally feel like at one time you had to have known this person because, you know, we have hot and cold. We have Jesus and the devil. We have, you know, you're going to have good or evil, right? So one of these two spirits are going to control you. So if it's not a spirit of peace that you feel, and it's a spirit of clutter, and your mind is cluttered, and your mind is all over the place, then it's okay, a spirit of the evil one, right? So, the Bible tells us that he cannot tempt you with anything that you are not familiar with. So my question is it really a stranger, or is it somebody that you are familiar with because you knew them a long time ago, whether it was in your past, in your childhood, in your teenage years, in your early grown-up years, but at some point of time you knew this person, and now this person is trying to enter back into you, whether it is a person of depression, whether it's a person of oppression, and you might not see that person now, but all these things trying to clutter your mind and trying to take, because the devil is cunning, right? And he's very deceitful, and he will try to enter any way that he can, in a way of whether it's music or whether it's a movie or anything like that, and he will come in to try to clutter your mind up, to try to take you off focus and try for you to let your guard down. And once you let your guard down, then that familiar spirit that you used to deal with, or if it was depression or whatever, might try to seep in and overtake you again. And now you're like, oh, where did this come from? Because I know this person, I know this spirit of depression, and now I don't feel like getting up, I don't feel like moving, I don't feel like talking to anybody. Now you're completely shut down, and you're like, ooh, where did this come from? But in actuality, it just all came from all those things building up. So the best thing is to cut the head off this snake while it's still like a garden snake before it gets large, and then that spirit has overtaken you so much that it's harder for you to dig yourself out of that hole and to let that clutter go. So like you said, the question is, how can we fix it? How can we declutter your mind? How can we get you back to a place of where you recognize yourself again and who you are? Hearing you talk is you're making a very valid point, and this is why I say you're making a very, very valid point. Another thing I neglected to mention is that I have issues with remembering. Like, it's like the smallest things. I literally cannot remember. I mean, and it's so frustrating because it's like, you know, I just had a sheet of paper in my hand and I walked into like another office, and between me walking out of my office into the next office, the sheet of paper like literally disappeared. And I'm like, I'm not laughing at you, I promise. I'm just like, I got a problem with remembering too, but that's because I used to smoke a lot of weed. Well, see I'm fully aware of that, and I accept it to the fullest. Fried my whole brain, but it's okay. Jesus is a restorer. Amen. He's yes. He's a restorer. He's a restorator. Amen. But yeah, I never smoked weed. Oh my God. No, I'm lying. I tried it. Okay. But like, I did it. I tried it with some friends, and when I tried it, I was so paranoid that I ruined their high and I messed up their money, and like they were like, you can never smoke with me again. Ever. Like ever. Never. Like ever. You're never ever. We're skipping you with rotation. They was like, no, you are not in this group. And thank God, because if I really liked it, only God knows. Like, yeah. If my mind is like this now and I've never really smoked weed, my God, could you imagine? Baby, listen. God knows. Yeah. He really do. He really do. But even like just remembering simple things, like simple things, like I forgot the other day, girl, I forgot how to spell R. Like literally, my mind was like AER, ARE, AE. Girl, you was at it. You was like I know you asked me sometimes on the phone, like, how you spell this thing? I'm like I gotta write it, but my mind be so cluttered. But what I'm getting at, the point that you made earlier when you said that, you know, you feel like there's a stranger in your house, but is it really a stranger or just someone that you've lost contact with? You know, when we say someone, we're per saying spirit, right? That you've lost contact with or let go of, right? And with me not being able to remember, maybe I think it's a stranger, but now
you know, I like, oh wow, a light bulb just came on. Like maybe it is something that I used to battle with years ago, that was lying dormant. And because I stopped praying as much as I used to pray, and because I stopped reading my Bible, and believe it or not, those things gave me strength to read my Bible, to pray, to watch those you know, YouTube videos. They really gave me strength. They gave me hope. They gave me a zeal to empower me to keep going. But when I cut that source off, and when I stopped doing those things, I was surviving off of my own strength.
Which we cannot.
And
I mean,
which
the Bible says
we
that
cannot.
if you keep your mind stayed on him, he will keep you at perfect peace.
Right.
Yeah. So if you start to deter from that, then you allow other things to be, other spirits to be able to come in and take you off course.
Right.
Kinda.
And it's like the little small things. I mean, if you think about it, if you have a bucket of water and you fill the bucket up to the very, very top, right? And then you take, and the bucket's already full, right? And then you take some ice cubes and you drop it in that bucket, right? Like all the water is going to splash out. They're not going to be able to hold the ice cubes, and the ice cubes are going to melt and kind of just, the water is going to all blend together. So what I'm saying is that sometimes, not even sometimes, with me, what I've been dealing with, I've been so concerned with the little small things, the little small foxes, you know, of my life. And my mind is cluttered with all those little, you know,
worries.
minute things. And when big situations come about, or bigger things that I need to really focus on, and really it needs to have my attention, when those things come about, I can't focus on them. I can't give them my attention, because my mind is already cluttered. And even if they drop those larger things on top, they'll either blend in with all the other little stuff, or they just gonna fall back out. And that's where I'm at. So I think it's learning. Now I'm to a point where I, like you said, how do we fix this? How do I declutter my mind? How do I, you know, reprogram myself to the point where I can say, okay, I recognize, I'm very familiar with you, and okay, this is good. Because now it's like a stranger, but
is it?
You are uninvited guests, and you are literally. But
is it
an uninvited guest?
Yeah. Or did you invite it?
I think it's down? No. I think it's an uninvited guest, because yes, I did let my guard down, meaning I left my door open, but I never told it to walk in. It came in. It came in at its own.
But the Holy Spirit is a gentleman. The enemy is not. So if you leave your door open, he coming in.
Right.
He don't care.
Uninvited guest.
Okay.
You weren't invited to be here, so go back from which you
came.
Go back
where you came from.
But you know, I was talking on a more spiritual level, because I feel like, you know, we've had our podcast for. This is our
Since April.
4th season we're going in, and I think you know, I feel like it's now time for us to really start to talk about some of the more personal, you know, spiritual things on an element that some people can relate with. And you know, I wanted to bring this to surface, you know, and kind of talk about it, because I feel like I'm not the only one in this boat. I feel like a lot of people are dealing with a lot now, and you know, it might not be depression, it might be oppression, it might be just feeling overwhelmed, it might just be, you know, fear, it might be a multitude of things, but just making people feel like I don't have the energy, I don't want to go any further, I don't want to do anything, I don't want to, you know, like I don't want to be here, but I don't want to do anything really to try to, it's too much to try to fix.
Right.
So I'd rather just sit here and just weigh it out, and hopefully at some point it'll get better. But it don't. We have to make a conscious effort. And that's why we're having this conversation, because, you know, as I'm helping myself, I want to help those that are listening. Like, okay, I've been there, I'm there, but this is what I'm going to do. And this is what we can do to get back on track and to find ourselves again. So we no longer feel like there's a quote unquote stranger in our house.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So what do you think you want to do to start decluttering that? Because, we need to declutter.
Right.
You need to get back to where you were.
Absolutely. First things first, you know, because I've really contemplated, you know, about this. I believe earlier in podcast I said, you know, I don't like to talk about myself too much, because I don't want people to force judgment on me. I always want to look like I got it together. I always want to look like I'm good. You know, I'm strong. I can handle this. You know, I give advice. I don't take it, you know, not in an arrogant way, but in a way it's like, you know, I can be a little prideful, you know, so it was very uncomfortable, you know, accepting that, okay, this is what we're going to talk about. And it was concerning me and what I'm dealing with, you know, so I'm like, okay, let's find some solutions, Antoinette. So Tony, first things first, how are we getting back to that? And I remember there's a scripture in the Bible that says, if you keep your mind on Christ, he'll keep you in perfect peace. So let's get back to Christ. You know, I remember times where I used to go through things, and my affirmation I would say all the time is, Lord, I trust you. And in saying, Lord, I trust you, it gave me so much strength. And even if at the moment I didn't believe it, the more I said it, the more I believe it.
Right.
And before I know it, God took care of everything. You know, he gave me solutions. He gave me ways out. You know, he just didn't do it for me, but he gave me solutions and remedies and sources on how to get through whatever I was going through.
Right.
So it's getting back to, you know, keeping my mind on Christ. And if I do so, he'll keep me in perfect peace. Now, how do I keep my mind on Christ? I get back to God. I talk to him more often. You know, I read, you know, even if I can't read an entire chapter, you know, focus on the scripture for the day. You know, the Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. And I meditate on that throughout the day. Every time I feel discouraged, down, sad, depressed, whatever, I'll bring that scripture back to the forefront. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. You know, and it's like the little simple things. And I believe that's me, how I'm getting back to myself.
Right.
You know.
I also think that prioritizing is a big part as well, because if you have a lot going on and your mind is cluttered and you're overwhelmed at work, you're overwhelmed at home, you're overwhelmed just in your personal life, if you have a lot of assignments or a lot of engagements or a lot of things going on, then prioritizing is definitely your focus, because in putting what's most important at the top, that way you don't have things that are, not saying they're not important, but things that can wait till next week. You don't, is your phone ringing, Dave? Oh my gosh, we over here in a deep conversation. It's okay.
Grace.
I'm gonna give you grace. We're gonna give Dave grace. Y'all give Dave some grace. But anyway, so yeah, prioritizing those things and making what's most relevant, like what needs to be focused on and taken care of in that day, because that will help you to declutter some of those things that are in your mind, and taking the things that can wait, like I said, can wait until next week, and letting those things wait until next week, and being okay with that, and not letting those things get the best of you or overwhelming you. And like you said, in trusting God, because that's the only way they're not going to overwhelm you, is to cast your cares upon the Lord, as the Bible says, so that he can take it and you don't have to carry it. But also changing your focus. Like, and when I say changing your focus, those things that, like, when you say you get caught up in watching Netflix or binge watching, or you get caught up in TikTok, or you get caught up in listening to a new album, or whatever the case may be, then what are you going to do to not allow those things to happen? Because it's so easy to get distracted. I'm going to tell you something. Okay, so I know you're not supposed to say when you're fasting or whatever the Bible says, but I feel like if you're doing it to encourage, then it's okay. So I'm going to testify and give you an example. So yesterday we were fasting, right? We were fasting. My church was fasting, and it was all water till 6 o'clock. And no social media until 6 o'clock.
That's good.
And so I was like, oh, okay, that's good. And as soon as he said, you know, I'm thinking, I'm good with the water. I can fast all day, whatever, you know. And then he said, no social media. And I was like, say what now? Wait a minute, Pastor, wait a minute. I kid you not. And so then I was like, okay, it's only till 6 o'clock. I'm good till 6 o'clock. And I'm only thinking because it's Monday. That's when I do the heavy promotion for the podcast. So wait a minute, I can't do this till 6 o'clock. So, okay, 6 o'clock. I can wait till 6 o'clock. No biggie. I'm good, God. And so then it was crazy how I realized how many times in a day I open my phone and I didn't even realize my initial, I didn't even realize my finger was doing it, automatically opening Facebook or opening Instagram. And a friend of mine from the church was like, girl, you might have to take that app off of there until 6 o'clock. And I was like, no, because I want to have control of this. I don't want this to control me. So I want to have control over me, not automatically diverting to pushing the button as soon as I open my phone. I could just be checking a text message or an email and I'm opening Facebook. Like, girl, why are you in there? Right. You know what I mean? So that was just like, what could you do? Like, you don't even realize some things that you were doing and how easy it is to just get distracted when you're just so used to doing it every single day.
And it's discipline, you know. I'm sitting here thinking, and it's hard. Like, I can't sit here and frame like, oh, just be disciplined. Da, da, da. No, like being disciplined is extremely hard, because I understand what you're saying. Like literally, I'll wake up in the middle of the night, right, to get water, something to drink, whatever. The first thing I do is grab my phone, and then when I grab my phone, the second thing I do is check Facebook. Like, it's 2 o'clock in the morning. Like, what is on Facebook?
Who is even up that
like,
you know?
Who cares? Right. Like, but it's literally like a force of habit.
Yeah, exactly.
And then when I get bored, the first thing I do when I get bored, pick up my phone. When I'm in the where I live, we have an elevator. And I think it's like kind of awkward, like when people get on the elevator and like, I don't feel like
you're in an uncomfortable position.
I get my phone out and I'm just strolling and I'm just looking, you know, to like occupy myself. You know, if I'm waiting,
you don't have to talk, or you don't have to.
You know, if I'm waiting somewhere, say I'm getting my service work done to my car, and I know, like, okay, it takes like maybe 37 minutes to get an oil change. Instead of me like, you know what, I'm gonna bring this book, so while I'm getting my oil change, I can just read this book. But no, I'm like, I got my phone, I got TikTok, I got Facebook, I got this, that, and the third. You know, so it's social media, you know, and I believe like it's poisonous, you know, and
to
I think
a certain extent,
to a certain extent, because if I can just be honest, and this is Holy Chicks, right? Dropping nuggets. If I can just be honest, you know, I think also what happened with me is losing myself. I look at TikTok and I look at Facebook and I see, you know, all the beautiful homes and the interior decorating and all the fancy cars and all the cute bags and bomb outfits and really nice photo shoots, and then I start to desire these things, and I really start to want, and then I'm desiring so much to the point I'm getting frustrated because I feel like I should have all these things over. I deserve all these
things. That entitlement is coming back.
I work really hard, so, you know, why can't I have, you know, a white room in my house, and why can't I have, you know, a custom Mercedes, you know, 2024, and, you know, and I'm honest, like, why, you know,
many people feel like that, you don't even know, and there are so many people that are not even in the financial position that you are in that desire these types of things, and they're like, what can I do to get to this? I want this. Why can't I live this life? Why can't I do this? Why can't I do that? And then there are those people that have it and they're just ungrateful,
right? And you know, the funny thing about that with me, I think we were talking about, because you like ratchet TV, and I don't do the ratchet TV. And
I was watching it last night, y'all. Loving y'all.
I ain't
coming here acting ratchet today, though, right? Right?
No. I don't know.
I was good today. Was I good today?
No, you try to blame me for something, so that was ratchet, what you did.
What I did?
You was like, it was Tony. Yeah, that was ratchet.
We keeping it raw, honest, and open, truthful, and transparent.
No, it wasn't ratchet. It was just messed up. But it's okay. I took one for the team. But anyway, so but the funny thing about it, like, I don't watch ratchet TV. I shouldn't say ratchet TV, but when I say ratchet TV, I'm talking about like I said Boys and Girls Club. Lord, listen. I'm talking about Housewives and what's the other show? Power and
I don't watch that.
What's the?
I legit only watch Love and Hip Hop.
Love and Hip Hop. That's another one.
That's you know, and Love and Hip Hop Atlanta and Love and Hip Hop New York. Those are the only two I watch.
Okay.
That's the only ratchet TV I watch.
I'm gonna tell y'all why I don't watch them.
Any of that other stuff, they too ratchet for me. Yeah.
But one of the reasons why I don't ratchet, because I'm careful of what I allow go into my heart. Like, I'm really careful, because those girls, they have all the makeup, and they have the cars and the hair, and they're very confrontational. Yeah. And they like to argue, and they like to fight, and they roast each other, and it sounds really good. And I was like, oh, I want to roast somebody like that. Like, right. I'm just being honest. Like, so
yeah. See,
I
that try to
like,
doesn't bother me. So
but me,
so if
like,
it bothers you, then I can see why.
Yeah, like, so I try not to watch it. But then it's like, now I'm at this point in my life where, okay, I don't watch ratchet TV, but now I'm on TikTok, and now I'm being lustful over some $2,000 Brazilian hair, because I'm being very
Please
honest.
Be honest. I'm just laughing because everybody has their own lustful desires.
I'm honest. Like,
yours might be hair, mine is shoes.
I don't care about the shoes.
Right.
Like,
see, people like bags. I'm not really a bag girl.
I'll go straight to Target and get me a cute shoe, but fly me to Brazil. Like, I want to be able to get some organic, booty weave. Like, I want 26 inches, like all the way down my thigh. Like, I'm just saying, like, so and I get frustrated, because I work so hard. Like, I should be able to buy me some $2,000 weave. Like, but that's like so carnal minded, right? Yeah. I mean, not really.
I mean, if you got it, buy it.
I mean, but me, I'll be wanting to buy every week, like,
every week. Sis.
Like, girl.
Well, I have this financial advisor, and before I buy anything, I will text her and be like, I'll send her the picture. I want this, because if I send it to you, you could be like, girl, get it. I send it to you, but you still be like, girl, get it. But then my financial advisor,
I'm gonna say, how bad do you want it? Right? That's the first thing I'm gonna say. That before I say anything, the first thing I'm gonna say is, how bad do you want it? So
she says, she always asks me, do I have X, Y, and Z? Do you have A, B, and C? And if I say yes to those two things, she'd be like, girl, get it. And I'll be like, okay. And if I don't, then she like, wait a minute, hold up, we might need to run this back. Or if she don't like it, or she doesn't think it's something that I might use often, and she's like, I think you can find something better. Right. I'm like, okay. So I always need help. It's 3 of y'all, you, her, and then it's another one. I always send.
Don't trust me. But I'm gonna go off topic for one quick second, because you reminded me of something that my pastor had said on Sunday. He preached, and he talked about being financially stable and the biblical truths behind that. But one of the things he said that I really took away from the service on Sunday, he said we get paid, right? Bi-weekly, monthly, however we get paid, right? And our paycheck is 100%. He said, this is how a person who wants to successfully build their future, this is just a scenario or example of something they should do. 70% of their paycheck, they take and do whatever they want with it. Cool. But 30% of that paycheck, you take and you put it aside. 10% is for your tithes and offerings, all right? The other 10% is for your emergency fund. And the other 10% should be for investments. So 10% to invest, 10% to set aside in a separate account for emergency fund, and then the other 10% you pay your tithes and your offerings with for your church. And then the other 70% of your paycheck, do whatever you want with it. Like, whatever your heart desire. And that 70%, if I want to get that $2,000, Brazilian weave, then go and get the $2,000 Brazilian weave, okay? But as long as those 3 things are, taken care of. Yeah. Yep. And that was very simple math for me, because it was like, ooh, I never thought about it like that. Yeah. So sometimes it can be like the simple things. But getting back to like stranger within me, stranger in my house, we're talking about how do we get back to finding myself? How do I get back to understanding and recognizing who I am and what I want? And like you said, first things first, set your mind on Christ. Pray often. Meditate throughout the day with one Bible verse. You don't have to do a whole book or chapter. Just take one verse, and you meditate on that throughout the day. And another thing you said that I really like is like prioritizing. So many times we forget to organize and fix our day accordingly. Before we go to bed, have a notepad and write 10 things that you need to do for the following day.
Right.
And make sure the first 5 are things you absolutely want to get done.
Right.
And if you can cross off those top 5, even if you don't get the last 5 done, it's okay. At least you prioritize and got the first 5 done.
Right.
So, and that's
Those
something
were most
else I
important.
used to do. I used to organize, and you might think it sounds weird or crazy, but I literally
not at all.
used to. Now, I didn't write a paper and pencil, pen and paper with
But
it.
you had it in your mind.
But I had it in my phone.
Oh, okay.
So I go
Yeah.
to Samsung Notes, and I'll, speak on my phone, and I'll tell my phone, make sure I do this, that, and the third. And I would have about 10, and typically I would got maybe 4 to 5 of those 10 done, but I felt accomplished.
Right.
I felt satisfied. I felt light. I felt relieved. I felt like I actually accomplished something. So I got to get back to that. And I love what you said when you was like, okay, Antoinette, you need to prioritize.
Yeah.
What's important, what's not that important, and what's the least important. And, get those things done that are really important, because it will help to relieve some of that pressure of just feeling like you're overwhelmed.
Because if you have those 10 things to do and you're doing bits and pieces of all 10, then you really don't feel accomplished. You don't feel the gratification that you need. So now you feel like, oh, my day was worthless, or now you're feeling worthless, and you're like, well, I don't necessarily mean worthless, but you're not feeling accomplished, and you're like, oh, you're just feeling like that feeling. So
Call
yeah.
myself silly or stupid a few times throughout the day.
I mean,
And
we
we
all
shouldn't do
do.
that. We shouldn't do
Yeah.
that. We really shouldn't. But I had
life, but
like, girl, why you
do.
acting so dumb? Like that was so stupid. Why would you do that? So but yeah, so just getting back to she kind of drops the nuggets on that. Those are things that I'm dealing with personally. I mean, I'm getting through. It's not as bad as it was a few weeks ago, And I think also too, I'm in insurance sales. That's my profession, So my income is surrounded around what I sell.
Honey, this
considering I do have
this commission is not for the weak at heart. Do you hear me? Like the
Girl,
sales field is not for the weak, not for the faint. Okay,
It's not.
Because
It's not.
we encourage each other sometimes. Like, girl, how your month ended? We like, girl, remember last month? I was like, girl. I don't even. Oh,
honey,
no.
I think I texted you. I was like, I trust God. That was my response.
I know.
I
It was
trust
like the
God.
last day of the month. I was like, girl, God turned my whole month around.
God. Like,
Girl.
come on here, Jesus.
I don't think people understand. Like, when you in that field, you have no
It's
choice
not-
but to trust God.
You-
Like, your
it's-
faith is on 100 every month, because you start from scratch every month.
And you have to be disciplined.
Yeah.
And I think, and that's why I was so like confused with myself. I'm like, Antoinette, you live. I mean, I'm not like super disciplined, but I've been on my job for 15 years, so I've been doing the same thing for about 15 years.
Yeah, so you know what's coming. You know how to handle
so
stuff.
you
Yeah.
gotta have some type of discipline to do what I do, because you're your own boss. There's no one that's over your shoulder watching you, making sure you
Right.
get your sales done, making sure you're doing it. You are responsible for you. So you have
It's
to
like your
have
business
discipline.
within a business. Yeah.
Absolutely. So I'm like, Tony, like, why you tripping? Come here, love. What's going on? I had
Are
to
you?
encourage myself.
Right.
Like, girl, what's going on? Chin up. Why you tripping? I love you. Come here. I literally, right, give me a kiss. Kiss the mirror. Give me a kiss. Why you tripping? I might even give myself a forehead kiss in the mirror. Like, you gotta love on you. You gotta love on you. And that's another nugget I want to point out, is that, when we start to feel this way, we feel overwhelmed, depressed, oppressed, all those negative feelings, we gotta love on ourselves, because sometimes we look for love in all the wrong places, and we forget to love us.
Ourselves,
We expect love from so many different sources, and then when those sources fall short and those sources can't come through for us, we feel empty, we feel invalid. So I literally, we laughed about it, but I literally had to like give myself some own encouragement, like, girl, I love you. Why you tripping? Like,
Right.
come here. Like, I had to be my own boo thing for a second.
For just for a second. That's okay.
And I felt better. I felt
Right.
better. And I tell myself, you got this. Stop tripping. You strong. It's like, I am. Yeah, you strong. It's like, all right.
Talk back.
Fist
That's
bump
it.
in the mirror.
People think you crazy if you talk back to yourself. Nobody knows me better than me. So who else gonna talk to me?
That's it. That's
I'm
it.
gonna talk to me, and I'm gonna answer me. Because if I'm talking to me, who else gonna answer me?
Where the cricket? Where the cricket buttons? 'Cause my mind just went blank for a second there. I was like, huh?
Because we don't want to record because you just answered yourself.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying.
Right. Just don't do that in public.
I don't do it in public.
Okay,
I do
good.
it in my office sometimes when they get on my nerves and they walk by and I see them looking in my office like,
Who's she talking to? Mind your business.
talking to?
Have a
You
conversation
gonna want
with
me to
you.
talk to me
Yeah.
and not to you right now.
Right. I gotta calm myself down.
Gotta calm myself.
But so you gotta encourage yourself. You know, but nuggets, T. What nuggets would you have for someone that's dealing with a similar situation or something similar? You know, something like what I'm kind of walking through.
So my nuggets are, as I said, to prioritize, put into perspective what is important, what can wait, because that's very important, because you don't want to give too much of yourself somewhere and you're not giving enough of yourself somewhere else that needs your focus at that point. Learn how to live in the chaos, because I know you were saying to make a list of some things, and that is amazing. But you also have to learn how to live in the chaos when it gets chaotic. When you do get overwhelmed, you have to learn how to stop. Like we were talking, I think in a podcast before, learning how to stop, take a minute to yourself, and just, I think you said you take a minute, you just go breathe. Just living in that chaos, because everything might not go as you planned in that day. Discipline. Staying focused. Discipline is very important, because very important, because if you are disciplined to not watch those things that are taking your focus off of God, if you're not disciplined to not watch those things that are taking the place of God, when you feel like you should be praying or you should be reading or you should be watching something encouraging, the discipline to not do those things. Then how do you discipline yourself? I fast and pray. That's all. I mean, that's all I can tell you.
And you tell yourself no. I mean, just no.
And tell yourself no. It's okay. So we did a whole podcast. It's okay to say no, but it's okay to tell yourself no.
No.
Like you're not just telling other people no here. Like some things you have to tell yourself no to. No, I'm not going there. No, I'm not going to read this.
No, I'm not going to eat that,
no,
because it's like 12 o'clock and you don't need pasta. So go lay down, get you some water and go back to bed.
Some people.
Get out of the spaghetti pot. What are you doing? Yeah. That's me.
Is that personal?
That's me. That was me last night.
I was going to say, sis just made spaghetti last night. I think that was personal.
Girl, I told you. What time I got up at 2 o'clock in the spaghetti pot. What? Get
your butt out that spaghetti pot.
Go lay down. Get you some water and go get some rest now. But
so yes, the discipline to not eat that at 2 o'clock in the morning.
And telling yourself no.
Okay. Tell yourself no. Yes, but just those things. And living in the chaos is very, very, very important to me, because things get hectic. Things go crazy sometimes. And if you can live in that chaos and stay focused in it, then you'll be able to overcome a lot, and you'll be able to do those things. Because I believe if you discipline yourself in one area of your life, then you will be disciplined in a lot of areas. Well, not a lot, in every area of your life. I'm a firm believer of the way you do one thing is the way you do everything. So if you can do this thing in one area of your life, then you'll be able to do it in all areas of your life. And not only will you be able to accomplish it in all areas of your life, your children, you'll be able to teach them how to do it. Because I remember we had a conversation, you said that your children watch you, and they do. Even if they don't say anything, they watch you. And if they see you doing one thing, then they're going to begin to do those things as well. Then they can start early, because I know we've had conversations where we weren't able to start that early. You know, we had to learn the process as we got older. We had to. You were talking. You said you had to take one for you took one for the team for your children, and I know we both kind of feel like that. We took these hits as kids, as teens, as young adults. We took these hits. We had to learn from experiences, and we don't want our children to learn from those experiences.
Correct.
So we want to teach and show them another way to be able to overcome, so that they don't have to go through the same things that we went through. So that's very important in raising children, especially in the world that we are in now. Just the discipline, the prioritizing, the keeping God first, keeping him first in your life, and making sure that you are praying, you're fasting, you're reading, you're doing all those things, and keeping your mind stay focused on God, so that you can stay at perfect peace. Because the joy that we get, it doesn't come from this world or the things of this world. It's supposed to come from God. And that when it comes from God, then no matter what happens in our life, then we will still have a certain peace and a certain joy. And I really believe that joy is technically peace, because when we start feeling like the world is heavy on our shoulders, we'll still be at peace.
Right. The joy of the Lord is my strength. That's
it's our strength. Yeah. And we can still walk throughout and still smile and still look like we have it all together, even if the world is on our shoulders, because we don't get our joy or our peace from the things of this world or from this world. We get it from our foundation. If we are the house, if we feel like there's a stranger in our house, our bodies are the house, because our bodies are a resting place for the Holy Spirit. And we're built on a firm foundation. That firm foundation is Jesus Christ. So if our homes are built on a firm foundation, then what we allow into our house is kind of up to us. It can be uninvited guests. So we have to make sure that we are taking the proper precautions to not leave our doors open, to allow those unwanted or uninvited guests in our homes, because they're too precious, because we want the Holy Spirit to reside in us. The Bible says the Holy Spirit doesn't reside in man always, but we want him to reside in us as much as possible. So that we can stay focused.
I love it. You know, you dropped some really powerful nuggets, like, oh, that's good. That's really good. I'm gonna play this back and be like, okay, I'm gonna write down, take notes. I hope y'all want to.
I probably will too. Like, who said that? Like, what? Where'd that come from?
You know, when you were speaking, I had another conversation with my younger child. I told y'all if she was my first, she would have been my last. Like, we're gonna talk a little bit about her on another podcast. But this middle child of mine, my God. But I went into her room last night, you know, and I had a conversation with her. And one thing I said to her, I said, my first question was, do you love God? And she said, yes. And I said, you do? She said, yes. I said, well, you know, to love God is to know God. And I said, do you think God would be pleased with the choices and the decisions that you've made? And she didn't answer me. And I had to reverse that back on myself. Like, I say I love God, but to love God is to know God. And with me making some of the choices I've made as far as deciding, you know, deciding to substitute time with him for Facebook, deciding to substitute time to edify my spirit with movies on Netflix that don't bring any, don't give me anything to help catapult me to where I need to go. And granted, you know, watching a movie here and there is okay. I mean, it's absolutely fine. But when you start to substitute it,
when it starts to
for
overwhelm
things that bring substance into your life, things that literally help you to grow as a human being, things that help you to grow as an individual, it becomes a problem.
Right.
So it's like I was substituting the things that were helping me to grow and things that were giving me strength for things that were making me weak and making me vulnerable and making me weighed down and heavy. Because you got to be careful. Like I said, the gates to our soul are eyes, ears, and mouths. And we can naturally, just through a movie, take on the burdens of those characters. Subconsciously, I'm a dreamer. So I dream. And like literally, like I could be watching a movie about Godzilla, the big, what is the leopard? I mean, the lizard, big lizard.
Godzilla. Something like that.
What is it? What is Godzilla? Whatever.
It's Godzilla.
But anyway, so I'll watch a movie about Godzilla and then like I'll fall asleep and then I'm like in a third world dimension running from like a big old dragon looking thing that's blowing fire at me. You know, and I'm like, oh my God.
I just dreamed last night.
Like, girl, what do you think that means?
What was you watching?
It means you probably was watching something you supposed to be watching. But anyway, so what am I saying? And having that conversation with my daughter, and I said, you know, do you love God? And I love God. You know, and I said to love God is to know God. You know, and basically what I was saying, if you really love God, then spend time with God. Really get to know God. And that's where I believe I failed, is that me personally, I stopped getting to know God. I stopped, you know, having that intimate relationship with him. And when I stop, I start to be filled with other things, because our vessels are going to be filled with one thing or another. We're going to get filled up. Either we're going to get filled up with the things of this world, we're going to get filled up with the things, you know, of heaven, you know, and I was substituting. And just through conversation, even in this podcast, things are coming to the forefront that I didn't recognize or realize with the substitution. Like, oh, so that's what's happening. I'm substituting vegetables for candy. And I'm wondering why I'm so drowsy and drained and tired throughout the day. Because I'm eating a bunch of junk food, and I'm eating things that can't nourish my body, things that can't give me anything to give me strength to keep going. But things just that make me tired, make me down and sad, upset and moody, and so let's get back to the good things.
Yeah.
So
let's get back.
I'm eating my vegetables, y'all.
I'm gonna hold you accountable too.
With no salt and sugar, because I like butter, salt, and sugar in my broccoli. Ain't that terrible, y'all? That's awful, isn't it? Sugar and broccoli. Who does that? Tony?
I don't know.
Me? I do.
I've never had sugar with broccoli.
You should try it. It's good. It's really good. I like it. I put sugar in my deviled eggs too, but that's off topic.
Yeah. You put sugar.
I put a lot of sugar in my eggs.
Oh my god, we gotta get away from the sugar.
It's okay. Macaroni salad, macaroni and cheese, baked beans.
Okay, coming back. The stranger
spaghetti.
is the food right now.
Okay. So yeah, but anyway, so so back to that. If I could say anything with personally going through this situation, one thing I would say is, what have you substitute the things that edify your spirit? What have you substitute those things with? And if you substitute those things with things that are not edifying your spirit, it's time to do the reverse and discipline yourself to get back to who you were.
Like it.
Yeah.
Love it.
Love it, love it, love it.
Want some more of it. Okay.
She's about rap, y'all.
No, I don't know. No, but I
time.
love it though. I love it though. So we're gonna keep an eye on this situation. We're gonna make sure Tony get back to Tony get back to Tony. Not this uninvited thing that was
Tony
going
with
on.
an eye. Get back
Tony
to
with
Tony
an
with
eye.
an
Did you
eye.
say that in the beginning? I don't think you said. Tony
I just did. Tony with an eye.
Yeah, we may.
Y'all, I'm gonna drop a nugget real quick.
Go ahead.
And it's not an important nugget, but it's still a nugget, right?
Drop it.
So you know the difference when Tony is a unisex name, right? So there's a Tony boy and a Tony girl, right? So Tony with an eye is for women, and Tony with a Y is for boys. So if y'all didn't know it, that's why I say Tony with an eye, because I'm a female.
Come through with the nuggets.
So
that's why we gotta make sure she say Tony with an eye.
Tony with an eye, because I'm a
female.
I'm a female. And Tony with the Y is for a male. So
For a male.
if y'all didn't know, now you do.
Now you
Thank me later.
We dropping all kinds of nuggets on here because it's real life. All right. All right, y'all. Thank y'all so much for listening. It's a wrap. Y'all, listen, if y'all have any questions, please feel free to email us at holychicksdn@gmail.com, or you can go to our Facebook page, Holy Chicks Dropping Nuggets, TikTok, Instagram, whatever. DM us. Let us know if you have any questions, anything that you are interested in hearing about or want to talk about. Please let us know, because we're here to talk about what you want to hear, because we know that y'all go through things that we might not be going through. So we want to talk about it all, okay? We want to help everybody. We're going to help y'all help us help you. Okay?
Every crack and crevice. And
every crack and crevice. We dealing with it
That's it.
because we know we bringing all things holy from a holy perspective, because we know living out here in these streets can be hard. It's hard out here for a Christian woman.
Christian woman. See, I forgot that fast. Y'all pray for me.
That's all right. I'm here to bring her back. All right, y'all. We love y'all. It's Holy Chicks Dropping Nuggets. It's your girl T.
It's your girl Tony with an eye.
We out.
Peace.
You ever met a bougie G? A little hood but still holy, gritty and still righteous, spicy and still modest. You ever met a bougie G? A little hood but still holy, gritty and still righteous.